The language of deceit. Notes and extracts. Correction and redirection. Many of us have been disenabled. As societies and agendas change, so the world changes and the words change. Whether in spelling, pronunciation, or meaning, each alteration serves a specific purpose. Transformation of understanding and cultural movements can occur simply through the alteration of the meaning of a word here or there. Good quickly becomes bad and vice versa. Suddenly, being dope or the shit becomes a sought-after state. We follow the stars who influence our patterns of life and our value systems. In the end, it always becomes impossible to tell if art is mirroring life or if life is mirroring art. As God is good, so the devil must be evil. Semantic change, also known as semantic shift, semantic progression, semantic development, or semantic drift, is a form of language change regarding the evolution of a word and its usage, usually to the point that the modern meaning is radically different from the original state or idea. In historical linguistics, semantic change is a change in one or many meanings of a word. Every word has a variety of senses and connotations, which can be added, removed, or altered over time. Just as a playwright removes lines from certain characters. Across space and time, very different meanings of the same word can arise. As an example, to begin with, the word regulation originally meant to keep regular and to allow to happen, rather than to make a law to obstruct or prevent something from happening. To regulate now means to limit through the creation of a law or rule or directive. The original concept was simply to unimpede progress, allowing goods and services and trade to flow in the market. Usually, this was done by maintaining roads and keeping the general order. Now, the meaning is akin to the prevention of certain courses of action, from any way to no way. Whether through quality, sense, or continuity, with restriction or enlargement, we must learn to understand how language has evolved. Here are two more examples of words that have changed their meaning over the course of time. Demagogue. Originally, this meant a popular leader. It is from the Greek demagogos, leader of the people, from demos, people, and agogos, leading or guiding. Now, the word has strong connotations of a politician who panders to emotions and prejudice, and has more than a passing interest in self-aggrandizement. Gay originally meant in the 13th century light-hearted, joyous, or in the 14th century bright and showy, very associated with light-hearted performances. It then came to mean happy. Later, it acquired connotations of immorality as early as the 17th century. Finally, a community that this word was used to chastise took the power away from the word by using it amongst themselves. Change is as often based on similarity between concepts as it is based on contiguity between objects. Specialization and generalization play their part. A more serious tone can be found in words with a natural grounding in folklore. Overall, though, the fundamental areas associated with transformation can be summarized as linguistic forces, psychological forces, socio-cultural forces, and encyclopedic forces. Of interest, further regularly used vocabulary of note includes the following words: artificial. This originally meant full of artistic or technical skill. Now it suggests unnatural. Nice. From the Latin not to know, originally someone who was ignorant or unaware. Awful. This meant full of awe, something wonderful, delightful, or amazing. Brave. This was used to signify cowardice, as in bravado, of false bravery. Manufacture. From Latin, to make by hand. This signified things created by craftsmen. Counterfeit. This once meant a perfect copy. Now it signifies a criminal intent. Prove, as in Proverbs, meant to test. This survives in the phrase proving grounds. Tell, as used in the description a teller. Its meaning was to count. Bully. A bully used to be a good friend or a sweetheart. Now it's one who picks on others. Distance originally meant to stand or measure between 2 points. Devious meant off the way or off the road, or wandering, or to stray from what is right. See diva. Sad started as satisfied. Also steadfast or firm. Then serious or grave. Smart was first used to describe things that cause pain. Weapons, nails, and darts were among the first smart objects. Tremendous has its root in fear. So terrible it caused trembling or shaking. Terrific. The root of terrific is terror. It became exaggerated, then a positive term all on its own. Fun was first a verb meaning to cheat or hoax. It came from an old word for fool. Cheater, an officer appointed to look after land taken by the crown on the death of the owner. Furniture originally meant equipment, supplies, or provisions. in the literal or figurative sense. Girl meant a child or young person of either sex. Meat. This was any solid food, as opposed to drink. It could also apply to food for animals. Naughty. These were people who had nothing. They were poor or needy. Pretty meant crafty and cunning. Later, a more positive connotation: clever, skillful, or able. Silly referred to things worthy or blessed. Later, the weak and vulnerable or foolish. Clue. Centuries ago, this was a ball of yarn for sewing. Think about threading your way through a maze. Guy referred to a frightful figure. Now it has come to refer to men in general. Divest involved undressing as well as depriving others of their rights or possessions. Senile was used for anything at all related to age. You could simply have senile maturity. The list goes on and on. Formation and transformation appear as endless parts of the cycle of language and life. So how should we view the simple word when we come to understand that words themselves have become an independent authority? How should we judge the value that we have for the living language that surrounds us? At one extreme, we have written rules created by powerful rulers who draw linguistic lines that we cannot cross for fear of the consequences. As a result of this, we subject ourselves to unjust laws and unlawful actions, to which the recourse is to the very system that is unjust. It is well worth remembering that appeals to authority rarely, if ever, work, because you must already have given away your power to be where you are. Words are a power play due to the deceptive nature in which they can be used. At its base level, all conversation seeks to do more than convey. It aims to convert. The truth is brutal. Bullies exist, tyrants exist, the power-hungry exist, narcissists exist, challenges exist, manipulations exist, to the wild extent that sometimes it is better to die than subject yourself to subjugation. The threat of force always tells the tale of a greater evil still to come. Perhaps asking the system that is raping you to please rape you slightly less is simply just bending over again. You need to get that straight before you can effect any positive change in any direction in the world around you. Your agenda is just that. It's your agenda. In a linguistic sense, the only way to successfully challenge authority is through a peaceful means of preferable behavior and, of course, carefully selected words. Yet, even that fails a majority of the time. Life is tough when you are playing another person's game by another person's rules. Yet, to know your words is to know your power. Many apparently simple questions have much more complex answers simply because they involve people and language. Poets and philosophers and dreamers have often been the first to feel the cold stone of the chopping block resting under their neck. You have to be hard and unrelenting in your purpose. Yet you have to flow like water at the same time, over, through, and around the daily issues. At the same time, don't forget to carry around that heart of gold, because it's worth its weight at the end of the day. And any way you cut it, your life develops as a story to become a tale to be told, or an opinion to be sold. We have minds, but do we think? We have thoughts, but where do they come from? We have ideas, but how did they form? There are concepts, but where were they conceived? Within the brain or out with? Are they based on evidence or are they based on belief? Are they tangible or intangible? Who is to say what is real and what is not? And yet, if you can't place a finger on a thought, then does it ever, or did it ever, really exist? Is the machine just a machine, or is there a ghost somewhere inside? Is there a spirit of pain and pleasure that is both medicine and poison at the same time? The alcohol is also the alchemy. Our language reflects our life philosophy, whether we know it or not. Words pronounced in the right way have the ability to summon great power, so much so that the language we use often destroys ourselves. Life, therefore, is a learning curve, a precarious balance of ideas and actions, a precautious narrative for those who follow us. Still, we must use it to find a meaning. We must use it to grow. We must use it to understand that any education without love is empty and meaningless. From this point, we may begin. The language of deceit. Notes and extracts.